All right, guys, welcome to Daddy Share Space. So today I want to talk a little bit about the longest rail, if you will. So I have my DeWalt rail here. I'll put the exact numbers up on the screen so you know the actual length. The DeWalt is either 102 or 106 inches, but I'll put the exact length up. The Makita and the Festool are both 118 inches long. My MFT table here is 4 foot by 8 foot. And the significance of that is if you can look at the overhang that I have with the 118 inch rails versus the overhang with the DeWalt track saw, you can see that the DeWalt is lacking. So let me grab the DeWalt track saw and put it on the rail here. Now, if you, let me see, I'm gonna get my other camera so I can, take a picture of this. So anyway, so when I look at my track saw here, and basically if I pull this barely back, all right, as the track saw itself, it has a little bit of a wiggle here. When I get it up here, it's more secure. So the back of the saw is actually off of the track, and I'm barely making my cut as I go all the way through. And if I put it exactly equal with the table, as you can see, the track actually starts to go off in this direction here. Or the track saw, it actually has a wobble. So even with the track all the way equal at the end there, this gives me more security starting my cut, but then I have a higher chance of kickback because when I go down, I'm going down directly onto the actual cut surface versus with these two rails, I can actually start the saw off of the workpiece, get it up to full speed, and then start to make my cut. So that's the DeWalt. Let me see, where is that Makita? And when I take the Makita, as you can see, I'm squarely on the rail, right? And the saw is totally off of the workpiece. So I'm able to actually initiate the saw off the workpiece and then run through my cut all the way down. And I'm able to complete the cut and I'm still on the rail here. So that right there is, this is what you're gonna get out of the 118 inch rail. Now, obviously the Festool is gonna be a similar situation. When I put the saw on there, it's gonna be totally off of the actual cut piece, the 8 foot length. I'll start the saw here. I'm able to push all the way through. I'm able to push all the way through the cut, as you see here. And when I end, I am off of the workpiece. The blade will actually be off of the workpiece. So that's my take on whether, well, in my opinion, if you want to cut a full 8 foot piece of material, you want to get a 118 inch rail versus a 102 or 106 inch rail. I think the new Milwaukee is 102, 106 inches as well, which means that you're going to be left with the same problem as the DeWalt. Now, unfortunately, the DeWalt track saw will not run, it will not set flush on the Makita rail. So I'll put the actual prices of these rails on the video, but this rail is significantly less expensive than this Festool rail. This Festool rail is, it costs more than this saw. It costs more than this saw here as well, just for the Festool rail. So the benefit to the Festool rail though is that this, you get this DeWalt track saw, the cheaper saw, and you could actually run either the Makita or the DeWalt on the Festool rail. Whereas if you get the Makita, you can't run the DeWalt track saw if you already own it. You'll have to get a Makita track saw, or potentially, my understanding is that the Milwaukee will also run on the Makita rail. So not sure if it's really worth it to purchase a DeWalt track saw and then go and buy a rail that actually costs more than the saw. That's, I don't know, this is a little bit strange to me. Now you can actually put the little rail connectors into the DeWalt track and extend the track. However, it just has the one connector at the end. It's just a single channel in the middle. So I don't know if I would actually trust that. Maybe it's okay if you just wanted to add, you know, a short extension just to make this a little bit longer. If you didn't want to use that as part of the cut, that's an option. You could get the cheaper DeWalt rail, cut it down, and put that part in there so that you can actually cut a longer length of material, and, you know, maybe put an extension on each side, and neither one of those would actually be relating to the cut itself. So that's an option that you could do with the DeWalt rail. I think I would trust that more so, cutting short lengths and putting the rod in there on both sides and using that, as opposed to you know, putting one long rail on one end or the other, because it's going to give you a lot more issues with error. With this, you know, the pieces hanging off the edges, it won't be as problematic. So that's an option. If you got the DeWalt, you can just buy a shorter rail like this, cut it, and make some extensions for each side so that it'll make it easier to be able to cut a piece of 8-foot material lengthways. Otherwise, if you're trying to be on a budget and you want to do this, I know a lot of people have said if you're choosing between the Makita and the Milwaukee, to get the new Milwaukee, you still got to consider, you know, the rails. I haven't personally, I don't own the Milwaukee. Don't know if I'll purchase it. I mean, if I did, I would only purchase it for review purposes, because I don't need it. But if the Milwaukee can run on the Makita track with no problems, then if you did go with the Milwaukee, at least you could go ahead and get the less expensive 118-inch Makita rail. You don't have to go with the Festool rail. Unfortunately, with the DeWalt, you got to get that Festool rail, or else you have to do some kind of jerry-rigging to get it to work out. So anyways, this is just a very short video talking about the length of rail for an 8-foot cut or longer. Thanks for taking time to watch the video. I'll see you in my next one. Take care.